My talking points ready.
Okay.
Man, that was
Okay.
great.
All right. Welcome everyone back to another episode of Just Boolin'. We just finished the third episode of the Acolyte, Star Wars, the Acolyte, set in the Star Wars universe. I went into the Acolyte being a Star Wars fan who's seen a couple movies, you know, in all kinds of order. Watched a few spin-offs, a few other cartoons, all that stuff like that. Um, right before we started, Sketch asked me my thoughts, and I will say, as a someone who has watched Star Wars, what I would consider recreationally, compared to as other people, um, to be set in a Star Wars universe, visually beautiful. Set in a Star Wars universe, story wise. See, what perfect way to say, I've seen a whole lot of talking in circles. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm seeing a whole lot of talking in circles. For those of you, and Sketch will get into the nitty gritty and the details. And this is just purely my Star Wars fan, outside looking in type thing. Um, long story. We took 3 episodes to get to the point of obviously, the Acolyte is the twin sister of a mechanic who is on a vendetta to kill 4 Jedi who she feels is responsible for the murder. I mean, who's responsible for the death of her family. In this third episode, we see that most likely this the Acolyte, the twin May, who's going out of business, is the resulting factor of why everyone in her family died, and it's more of a she's mad at the Jedi who turned her sister away from the witches. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
Nah, you're right.
Okay. So that said, that's a story. That's the story.
Man.
That's the so that's the story. That's the um you know a set of twins, force sensitive twins who have dealt with different things and dealt with all kinds of living with their mothers and stuff like that. They're force sensitive. Obviously, everyone knows that Jedi come and find force sensitive children. They come and approach these children. They don't want to deal with the force. They call the force a threat. Did you catch that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And so, long story short, you got 3 episodes to describe. One of a 2 set of twins decides that they are going out of their way to go after the 4 Jedi who turned her sister towards the Force versus the thread. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So again, when I say I felt like it was a whole bunch of
Talking in circles.
sorry, a whole bunch of talking in circles, that was because of I think we caught a lot of that in the second episode. They blatantly told us who the twin was, and then we got a gist of everything. So now, okay, to wrap that all up in that saying, that's 4 minutes of me blabbering. To know nothing about the Star Wars universe and to know nothing about what is going on currently, it is okay but long-winded. And again, Sketch is going to attest to this point, and he'll speak to this point. I am seeing them trying to diverge away from the use of the word force. The very particular wording. Some call it the force. We call it the thread. If you want to pull, and when they talk about doing things and using things, or MIS, yeah.
Go ahead.
And
Sorry,
so is that the is that the equivalent of them? What people are upset about them trying to say that they are deviating from what the Force was.
That's a part of it. It's
Okay,
it's an obvious rebranding. That part is an obvious rebranding. The whole thing is a rebranding. But yeah,
okay.
that's a part of it. Yes.
So, uh, if this wasn't something that I felt like something that was written and directed to purposely deviate from the Star Wars mythos, I would think it was a great show. But seeing how we've 3 episodes and two dead Jedi, and all I'm not sure where to go with it yet.
We're confused. It's very little information. There's a lot to from a storytelling perspective. Purely from that perspective, there's a lot to be left desired. Like they have told virtually no story. Every Jedi that they introduce, we know the bare minimum of. Not even like, oh, it's early days. We're not going to know about this. Like you ended these characters' lives. I don't give a damn what you're going to give us in a flashback or tell us in a holocron or something like that. You have to at least fully flesh out these characters when we see them. Like
So
you have to give us a beginning, middle, and end for each character. It's short as it has to be, but you have to give us that. What
I
they gave us with these characters was nothing.
I think that's what that's what I don't understand. Again, 3 episodes of telling us that's one twin that's went about her way of the Force. That's one twin that went about their way of going through. And
Once,
hold on a second.
yeah, I think he's having some technical difficulties on his end. Give him just a second.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, there we go. Okay, I just got. All right, so
So,
um,
to your point on that, once it's clear what the intent of all this is, it becomes very clear why they're doing what they're doing.
yeah.
And it's not even like you have to put on a tinfoil hat. But yeah, go, please continue.
Oh no, I was just saying. Like you were saying, they don't give us any backstory on a lot of things. The nit and gritty of it is we have two twins, one that's force sensitive and went the way of the Jedi, and one that blames the Jedi for her sister going the way of the Jedi, and she's killing those 4 Jedi. So while they and it's only episode 3, and I'm gonna do that. And again, I'm gonna test it. So far, I'm liking the show based on what I'm seeing. But again, I don't understand any or know any of the lore. So that said, minus who the Skywalkers are and Darth Vader and all that stuff like that. But that said, that's all they gave us. But then they give us shit like, you have a Jedi who's literally apparently has been meditating since the
Bro,
incident. He got a one Jedi that's been meditating since the incident on the planet where all the witches died, and they took the one twin, and the other twin supposedly died. They took the one twin and trained her to be a Jedi. He has been in meditation for 10 years. He comes out at the sound of her voice. She sets a poison down. So you want basically says you want to do this the easy way or the hard way. And then he says I thought we were doing the right thing, and he drank the potion, and that was also, and then like, what's the wrong thing? What
yeah.
did you guys do? Everyone knows. Everyone knows. And I saw this quote that said, one of the things that people were upset about is that correct me if I'm wrong, because
Mhm.
again, I'm speaking outside looking in. One of the quotes that I saw about what all that was going on was whatever, blah blah. They were like, everyone's upset about the lesbian space witches making forced children, and but missing the story about it's how it's really about um the one side that takes force sensitive children and trains them against their will to become weapons or whatever, or one side that takes force sensitive children and trains them with government backing. And I'm like, you can pay attention to both, but at the
No, no. What the difference is, once again, once you understand the intent of this, it the reasons why they do stuff becomes very clear. It's
okay,
not
yeah,
about that.
that's what I'm here for. Explain that.
It's not
Suggest.
about this. This is not this whole thing. I'm gonna just give it to you plainly. This whole thing is nothing but a rebranding. It is a rebranding. This is Leslie Headland's freaking fan fiction that
If
she.
Leslie Headland, she was the one with the Forces Female T-shirt.
No, that was Kathleen Kennedy. Leslie Headland is the one in charge of this show.
What did Kathleen Kennedy do?
Kathleen Kennedy is the head.
What are the Forces Female? What did she do?
She started the movement. She's the one who hired everybody.
Oh, she hired everybody to make the Force Female.
Yeah. I mean, not
Okay.
to make the force female, but like to bring in these people. Specifically, she brought in. She said she's on record saying this. She brought in people who do not write Star Wars, who do not know anything about Star Wars. You can like what I'm saying. You can go and verify, but this is not me here to be like angry and shit like that. I'm done with
Question:
that. To
why do they hire people
because
who
they
don't have or any interest in the franchise prior to their recommendation for the job? Like I can understand having some directors and some big name directors like, hey man, I would love to see a Steven Spielberg do a fucking My
and
Little Pony live action. Mind you, Steven Spielberg may not know shit about My Little Pony, but they can understand that Spielberg would get to know the source material enough to make it what it is. Right?
so
Is that my understanding of how that
yeah,
works?
that's
Okay.
how it's supposed to work. So I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you to do something for me. Let me cook real quick. Is that cool?
Go ahead, chef it up.
Okay. So this problem started decades ago, literally decades ago, like almost 2 decades ago, but way back when. We've been talking about this forever, ever since Disney acquired Star Wars, right? All of a sudden, the Force is female. Like we have plenty of, we have Princess Leia, we have Ayla Secura, we have Barriss Offee, who was a traitor, but she for the time when she was loyal, she was still a bastion of the Force.
Okay.
We have Ahsoka Tano. We have my favorite, Shak T. Like, don't get it twisted. We have so many female Jedi, female characters within the universe. It's full of aliens and people. It's no secret that Star Wars has always been kind of soft. Not like it's been lame, but like it's been like it's not hyper masculine. It's not like of the 80s. It's not everybody's not butch and shit like that. You can go over there to the Mandalorians and get that, or you can, go to the more like clean cut, slim down, clean
Was it
shaven
Ronda
Jedi.
Rousey in the Red Mandalorian?
Yeah,
Ronda
as
Rousey? Okay, okay. Okay, good.
I believe so, as one of the Mandalorians. Gina Carano was. Sorry. Gina
Yeah, okay,
Carano,
cool.
the kickboxer. Yeah, and she was a Mandalorian. That's their whole thing. They're like they're, combat whatnot. But Star Wars has always had this kind of vibe. So for people to sit there and say that all this stuff is like, oh, it's super sexist, shut up. Anyway, that's not why I'm here. Like I said, this is a rebranding. This is just them trying to make Star Wars into something that it's not. They have been trying to
So
they have been trying to do this for years. Let me cook, please. I'm gonna do
okay.
this once on the podcast, and I'm gonna let this go because I'm letting Star Wars go with this one. After this episode, I may watch another two if you're up for it, but I'm done with Star Wars after this.
As a
For
franchise?
yes, for a very specific reason, because it is the fans' fault for this one.
Plain.
So I've talked about previously. Um, we look at to our left and our right whenever we want we scream for our fandoms to be put on the big screen and stuff like that. But we're not always cognizant of like there are people in our fandoms who want to change what we like, who are not always on board with it. And there are
Mhm.
people that we want to give our fandoms to that always have the best interest at heart. In particular, I say that Star Wars, the decline of Star Wars, is the fans' fault, specifically the quiet fans, which are the majority. Now, you can point fingers, you can say whatever you want to, but for years, the more passionate fans, you can call them, fanboys, autistic, whatever you want to call them now. Whatever the new moniker is now for the hyper fans and stuff like that. But we're the ones that have been carrying the franchises. When you eventually put it down because okay, that's a little too much. I'm getting a little too into this, or I don't want to make this my whole personality. Okay, but when you're gone, when you put the thing you sort of kind of light down, the super fans are there. They're the ones, the fucking hyper collectors buying comic books and figurines and stuff like that. They're
And further funding the further funding these projects like the Acolyte.
exactly the no, not nope, not
Oh,
that, not that. This new Disney has too much money. They're doing this shit out of spite. Anyway, back to the original. The super fans are the ones that are funding these projects. They're the ones buying the old merch. They're the ones keeping your stuff alive. Games Workshop is that whole fandom is nothing but the old heads. Like that fandom is carried specifically by the old heads. But Star Wars owes their success to those guys and to the super fans. You have the fandom has been actively silencing the ones who are super passionate about it because they're the ones who have been saying stuff about this. They're the ones who've been making the noise, trying to push back against all this stuff since Kathleen Kennedy became a fucking supervillain, right? And at every turn, anytime somebody says something, oh my God, shut up, nobody cares, blah 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 blah, right? Every one of my friends, anybody I have talked to about Star Wars, like in terms of like the culture wars and the fan wars stuff like that, which is crazy to call it that, like whatever. But anyway, but anybody I talk to about this discourse, if they're not actively on the side of like the Kathleen Kennedy camp and like Ryan Johnson and shit like that, they're like, I really don't care that much. And that's cool. That honestly, I understand. But at the same time, do not sit there and call yourself a fan. Don't bring yourself to the fandom if you're going to engage in it and not care when people actively fuck it up, because you have people telling you night and day, hey, look what they're doing. This is obviously not what we want as a collective, because like we enjoyed this shit. Like I don't understand it. We as nerds, we understand escapist fiction. Like we understand these bastions of relief and haven. We understand that intrinsically. So how is it that you invite somebody to your house, let them piss and shit all over the stuff, and then when your roommate comes in and tells you, "Hey, they fucked up our shit," you know they know the fuck they didn't. Shut up. Oh my god, I love that what they did.
you're
Your
saying that
roommate.
you're saying that said too many fans just let a lot of shit slide because they were just happy to get more Star Wars.
No, 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 no. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is they didn't care enough. They heard the noise and were like, "Oh my God, who the hell cares? Like, no, nobody. Why is this an issue? Like, why are you so into this? Like, why is it such a big deal?"
But I'm saying they're saying why is it such a big deal because they're just happy to get more Star Wars.
No, not even that. Some of them just don't care. Like, it's just not a big thing to them. That's what I'm saying. Like
So they
most,
they're ready to ignore just that part of the franchise.
yes, they're completely willing to ignore it
And
because
because I'm seeing a lot of discourse about them completely ignoring um the way that this show is describing the creation of the Force, and or because apparently the twins birth via the Force apparently upsets the timeline of Anakin's birth, and so explain Anakin's birth to me.
and Anakin was birthed by Shmi. She basically he's basically like Force Jesus. He was born through the Force and Shmi. Like he has no actual father. He was just born from a woman. Um with this, it's like these
Because the Force willed his existence.
yes. So with these, which they did it themselves, which I'm not getting into that because that I can leave that to the rest of the fans, right? We like that's obviously some weird shit.
But not un
And,
believable of
and
people doing it with the Force.
yes, it does.
They mentioned it being a ritual they haven't done before and being run off and because of their value. So maybe it's the reason why they're persecuted is because they were using the Force to make a bunch of babies.
Yes. Well, that's what they're alluding to. And yes,
Okay, okay,
in this story, yes, they're probably doing it, like they've probably done it before or whatever. But in the Star Wars universe, that's what people are pissed about. Like in the Star Wars universe, this don't fucking work. Like you're literally making up shit and then placing it in the Star Wars universe. Like, yeah, it's always been like this. That's what people are
listen.
getting pissed off about. But I'm but like I said, I don't want to talk about the force babies because that's sensitive, and I just don't want to go over there about that because
Okay,
that's
I
tied
got you.
into the whole LGBTQ or whatever. I don't want to get into that.
I don't want. I don't. It's not so much I want to get into that portion of it. It's the fact that is it not separate that one someone doesn't matter who because it could be it doesn't matter if they lesbians or not a woman or someone with force powers use those force powers to impregnate someone. So I can the fans not separate that someone uh
It's that they
doing
don't
that
want
act
to.
on. That's what I'm
It's,
saying.
it's
It's
that they
like
don't want to.
they don't want to separate the fact that they doing this on purpose and it's taboo to make kids out of the Force. And Anakin was just created because the Force willed it. That's separate. That still concludes that the Force in itself is its own entity. Correct.
Oh, I see what you're talking. No, we're the people talking about the whole Anakin thing versus this thing are talking about the event itself. The birthing a person from the Force is a crazy fucking event. Like that is a wild thing. Like Anakin being birthed is not like, oh, he's supposed like that was a momentous thing. Like him being
Oh,
birthed from the
so
Force is the
that's like
reason
felt.
he's the yeah, like
Okay.
it's the reason he's the fucking chosen one. It's one of the reasons like he's so special. Like he is an anomaly in the Force. That's why Obi-Wan is like so distraught. He's like, you were supposed to bring balance to like you are a not in the Force that was put into somebody's belly.
So what they're saying is, oh, okay.
Whereas
So
this is somebody's fanfiction.
you negate the whole thing if anyone can just if they have enough force power or enough
And
force sensitive people they can create babies.
exactly. And once again, I haven't looked on
So
Twitter.
what
I'm
makes
not on
him
Twitter.
the? I'm telling you, dude, that's what they're saying.
But hold on. Just let me cook,
Yeah, go
please.
finish. Go ahead, flip that burger. Go ahead.
So I'm not on Twitter. I already know though that they're gonna say like, "Oh, you're just mad because it invalidates Anakin or whatever." No, we're mad because you're pissing all over the story. You're fucking shit up with fan fiction and badly written fan fiction. And we're calling you out on it. And every time somebody calls you out on it, you call the fans bigots and racists and we hate trans. No, we just hate your stupid shit. And once again, I'm pointing the fingers at the fans because for years, for decades, this shit is going on. We've been talking about this shit and we get no support from anybody outside because anybody outside they use the way they present it doesn't look bad. There's nothing so bad it's not so bad, right? You push small things here and eventually it snowballs.
Hmm.
So like you just look crazy. Like I probably sound right now. But
You don't
once
sound
again,
crazy.
but I'm sure I do. I'm to somebody. But once again, here we are
It's
With Star Wars in flames, and what do you have? What do you have? The Force is female and it's burning.
if Sketch sound crazy, please drop us a line. I would
Yeah,
love to have you on so you and Sketch can debate.
but
But
to the to the point of the story though, there is so much weird with the story. Like in terms of, just in terms of the show in general, not even getting on to like what they're doing with the like in terms of trying to piss off the fandom. The drama in this show is toothless. Like there are no real stakes. I at no point in time did I feel any sense of trepidation from
I'm
any of the conflicts going on. Like I
I
go ahead.
I'm just saying I haven't watched a Star Wars anything in a long time. I even I so whichever one of the Star Wars. Sorry if y'all listen to this. Obviously, but if it's been out for more than a couple of years, it's on your own fault. You haven't. But whichever Star Wars that Ray found out that Skywalker, well, Luke was her dad. Um, I think that's the last one that I saw. I haven't even seen the one after that one with like and the emo dude.
All right.
Um, but um, so watching this I, I gotta give it like I want to watch another episode. I want to watch like two more episodes just to see where it goes
Right.
because this is all this stuff's calculated. You gotta wish you gotta think that they expected this and then they also have a pivot somewhere.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if you know or not, but and I'm not gonna dissuade you. Obviously, I'm gonna watch it with you. But Star Wars in particular has is in the business of pissing the fans off. They do things specifically because they know the fans don't like it. That it's kind of a running meme at this point. Like we've been talking about it for years now. Like Disney does things out of spite because they have the money to, and
Uh,
because they're
Fuck
Disney,
you
they
money and
know
let you do a lot of shit.
because they're Disney, they know they can make the money back somewhere else, and they can do this again.
Man,
And
they
that
gonna sell figurines out the fucking ass off this.
not off of this. They'll sell Spider-Man because remember that Disney owns all that merch now. So they can just sell Frozen stuff at the end of the year and make all this money back. Like
Yeah,
that's
because you know how much a fucking Spider Man pot with a gumball ice eyes cost $5.
that's what I'm saying, bro. But yeah, like the drama is toothless. There's no stakes whatsoever. Even though they do a good job of telling you what's at stake, but there is no tension. Like and the choreography is weird. Like I'm a big stickler for that. I'm a big stickler for when you have believable choreography, especially for female fighters. Because I'm a huge fan of Cynthia Rothrock growing up in like kung fu movies and stuff like that. Like
My
you
my thing with the choreography is the fact that
one
I
hand hand.
I expect with them being Jedi and Jedi masters, I expect that choreography to be a little bit more than what it was. Like it should have been a little bit more like force centric. I feel like, but that's just me.
Let's okay.
But they also did a lot of cool like, oh, oh, you almost got my lightsaber.
Let's
Gotcha.
let's call a thing, right? Number one, why they fight? Why they hand to hand fighting in Star Wars?
Mm-mm.
Like I can get
What's
why.
the deal with her? Yeah, did I miss her asking why they gotta attack her first?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was my next point. But she's fighting hand to hand, and she's just rolling on these bitches like she is the main character in somebody's story. That's another thing. Like
Oh, I wrote this down. Go ahead. I
when
knew
she,
you
when
about to
she,
say it.
when she shows up, like bro, spot the JoJo character. Like it. Like I don't get it. Like you have to look like Lavender Avocado Basket, like the strongest YA freaking character in all of existence. Like and attack me with all of your strength. Like what? Who writes this?
uh, I did write this. I wrote this note down. I thought you were gonna say it. She is badass. We gotta have to admit that she's held her own against Jedi. Boom, boom, boom. She's killed. She killed one, made one kill himself, and
I'm gonna
then
I'm gonna get to that.
the shop owner, holds her at bay with just his hands.
Yeah, let me get to that. So we talk about the Jedi that she's killed. All of them are garbage.
Maybe I need to go
Or
see what's a Jedi fight you recommend me to go see and watch.
anyone from the movies. Anyone from the movies.
Okay, so let's.
Or any kind of combat from the Clone Wars. Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, the 5 minute are the 5 minute episodes are my favorite. I love those because he mixed elements of horror and things like that. Go look up General Grievous. The way
Okay.
he made Grievous scary, amazing. Um,
Okay.
just Chef's Kiss, that was a great addition to the character. What I mean by that is I'm a fan of the Matrix, obviously. When I saw Trinity, I was like, oh shit, like they're gonna do the thing. And then my brain went immediately like, wait a minute, this is Star Wars. Maybe they're gonna do something different. Like I don't know. Like we'll
That
see.
was
Like maybe
Trinity, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
And she
so
was just dead first episode.
and they just went hand to hand. Like, okay, this is like if I was 13, this would be cool and like mid at that, but like I just was not impressed.
I get that,
Like
but
I've seen better on like on Power Rangers things like that. Like I for the amount of money and the amount of emphasis you put on this, and this is like the first fight. Like that's the biggest thing. Like it it did nothing. It didn't look like anything spectacular. Like I wasn't wowed by it. Especially like y'all are not using any weapons or anything like that. Like this supposed to be some like hand to hand stuff. And then you get killed by throwing knives. Meanwhile, in the in the fandom, like in the movies and stuff like that, people be taking lightsabers to the stomach, to the spine, and like powering through that, and a throwing knife kills you. And then she poisons the other dude through what I assume is guilt. But like I said, like you said earlier, it was very quick. Like we don't know anything about these characters, what they did, how they did it. Like everything is just very fast.
she said either we could do this the easy way, this the hard way.
Yeah, and like
But no,
once
that
again,
upset.
they do a lot of telling me that she, the number one, she's a badass. Number two, she's some kind of skilled. I have yet to see anything convincing.
So when you said that, and you did mention agreeing to watching more episodes with me if I want to watch more episodes, and yes, I do. And so what I think we're going to do is just gonna roll it out just to see, because at the same time these Disney shows aren't that long. They're only gonna be like 12 episodes, 10 episodes. I asked you to give me 6. I like even numbers, so give me 6.
You
We
my
watched
boy.
3.
You my boy. You my boy. So I'm gonna do that.
All right, so 3 more episodes, and we'll go from there, and then we'll let people know whether or not it's a copper drop for us. I don't think copper drop is it's copyrighted. Anyone can say that if they want to.
Yeah.
Just to wrap things up, just a couple of notes that I put down. I did put the shop owner held her back. It was really crazy because she just killed fucking Jedi, and now she fucking getting held back by, apothecary dude.
And
Um, the hypocrite force powers. You mentioned that she fucking holding the moth with her force powers and then telling her sister not to do it. That was weird, But maybe at the same time, she's also a twin, and she knows her sister's like pretty malicious, so that's why she wanted her to let it go.
yeah, there's a lot weird
The
going
more
back.
that episode fleshed out, I understood why maybe she wanted her to stop using the force.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, going back to the show. Is got the notes written down for this. Ignoring how the force works. Just straight up, and I think it was the second episode, they just straight up read that dude's mind and figure out that he betrayed OSHA. But then they can't figure out anything else. They can't like ascertain like the one chick rolls up on it like, yeah, she killed a bunch of people. Like you couldn't do that,
People not Jedi not have like mind blocks.
but they didn't even try.
They ain't try to even explain like a mind block or anything
Yeah,
like that.
they didn't even pursue it because they're not thinking of it in the writing. They just you just talked about how this person is killing masters, but you're gonna send a knight and a Padawan, a fresh knight at that. Like that guy's been a knight for two
He on
years.
my fucking nerves. Yord, he's a
Yes.
fucking bitch.
Okay. Looking at
Yord is
him,
a fucking bitch. And
look
his Killmonger braids, dreads,
looking at
I got that written down too.
looking at him, what inspires you to think he's gonna take out the Jedi Master Killer and his
Not
plucky
to
sidekick?
mention, he's pulling his lightsaber on someone who's cornered against a fucking who's cornered against a waterfall with no way out, with no weapons.
And number two, because they keep pressing the cop Jedi thing in this, I'm not blind to it. I see it immediately. They're pressing a lot of things, but I'm not gonna speak on them. But they're pressing the whole cop thing. So why the hell is he there? He personally knows the suspect.
And he's been an asshole to her when they supposedly friends.
Yeah, but even before that, that's a conflict of interest. Like he has a personal relationship with her. Now you can play some '80s cop drama and get Master Soul to go later, but as far as Yord, why is he there? I question Yord. I know why Yord is there. We all know why Yord is there, but as a story device, why is he there?
I don't like him.
I don't think you're supposed to is
I
the thing. I don't think you're supposed to. But that's I got a problem with a lot of people, like the whole cast, bro. Everybody just look everybody
I'm
just
not
looks
sure.
weird.
I'm not
Everybody looks
sure.
fucking weird, and like it seems like it's not the actors themselves, because all these actors are some kind of like, decent at what they do. Like also they have to be, but it's like the script does not let them, like none of them can like figure out what the fuck is going on. It reminds me of Season of the Witch, the back half of Season of the Witch.
I see. That's where I may have to disagree with you because I like. Let's see. I like Jet Master Soul. I like his character. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about him. I
It's
like him.
the ancient Asian wisdom that they've
I
been
don't know. I
that,
like him. I
yeah,
like who's the Jackie? Is am I right?
yeah.
Uh
What's
yeah,
what do you like
the
about her?
she's funny. You called it. You said she's probably gonna be the comic relief, and she's really
Hmm.
funny. Her character seems like someone who's while she's uh they are sensitive to well not they not sensitive. While they are still learning the force, they're still uh under the mode that they're flexible to learn how everything is working. Like he's like, oh, why are you keeping videos, holograms of your potty wine? Hey, look, memories are a thing, or memories say things, blah blah blah. Say, hey, look, man, you gotta take your own path, basically.
Yeah,
So I like that and what that character development may be, while Yord is completely that character that's just he's a snitch and it's crazy, and I
yeah.
don't like it.
He's there to be the eat a
Because
dick.
you can be a dickhead, but it was just over the top. His character just over the top. And the side story to that, and we're talking about Star Wars right now. There's a character in there's a show called Invasion. There's a character called Travante in the he's an army guy or a Navy SEAL or whatever. And his character in the beginning was a dickhead, and like he's pulling guns on people. He's fucking shouting, yelling at people. It's like, why are you doing all this shit? Like there's different ways to go about this, which is what I feel like they may do to Yord's character.
Yeah,
Again, you say I'm not supposed to like him. I mean,
yeah,
obviously, I know what you meant by that, but also I'm not supposed to like him because of his character. And so, um,
yeah.
I think he may have a turnaround. But at the same time, yellow lightsaber. There's nothing against yellow, but it just
Yeah, it was
yellow.
um the
Like,
temperament of
what?
the Jedi versus the temperament of the witches. Because like once again, we talk about like the cops and whatnot. Like these people have been like, I'm guess, downtrodden or whatever. Like there's some kind of like endangered group, but you're coming across the police force of the galaxy at the very least,
Yeah.
and you were just outright hostile them. Like at the last episode we watched, the chick straight up takes over the Padawan
Mhm.
using dark force energy. Number one, anybody from a bad neighborhood, do you just pull out a gun in front of a cop?
Yeah.
Like, is that a smart thing to do? Is it a smart thing to just, show your drugs in front of the DEA agent?
Nope, not at all.
Is it
Not at
is
all.
it is it smart to antagonize the officer? Which you can go on TikTok and do that. So I guess that may be accurate. But like the one-to-ones are like they're making these they're drawing these weird parallels, but like the characters themselves aren't responding realistically, or aren't responding as one would in that regard. And it's like the like I said, the vibes are contradictory. Like, are the Jedi the bad guys, or do you just treat them like that? because like it's disproportionate. It jumps between being oppressed and showing their superiority over them. Because at one point it's like, oh, we're better than them because we can do this, we can do that. But then at the same time, you're subject to them.
Yeah. Because yeah, they did hand those children over quick, fast, and in a hurry, which I
Yeah,
thought was
and
crazy.
if
Because depending on how they were talking to them and taking over fucking bodies, I thought they would put up a little bit more fight. But I get that. I do feel like us.
but
I
at the same time, it feels like the only power the Jedi have is clout, right? Because
yeah.
they drew up when they pulled out the bows and arrows. They're like, yeah, we'll deal with them. Like, no, let them. And then all of a sudden you just roll over. Like they're trying to tell a certain kind of story, but the math is not mathing. Is what I'm saying. What is depicted on screen is contradictory to what the story they're trying to tell.
That's it. That's it. That's it. And I to be the devil advocate here. We said the same. We felt the same way 3 episodes into X-Men '97. So that's why it's asked for 6 episodes.
I had more faith in X-Men '97 than I do Star Wars. I'm gonna just be
Okay.
real with you. I'm gonna be real with you
I understand. I
because
understand.
we, yeah, we
Time
because
will
of what
tell.
Disney has done with Marvel, I we had more faith because at least Disney tried, or at least with Marvel, they tried to like be sneaky about it. Star Wars has not tried to be sneaky with what they've done.
So like all these series, The Mandalorian, all these other series and stuff like
The,
that, they
the,
just
Mandal-
been throwing shit together.
the Mandalorian was done by John Favreau. That's why people like it. It's done by the you remember Happy from the
Yeah, yeah,
second,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
He's
that's
the
him.
bodyguard. He's uh um Tony Stark's bodyguard.
Yeah, yeah. We love John Favreau. He's the one who
Yeah,
brought us the
he's dope as
Mandalorian.
fuck. He's the
Yeah.
one I was got with Aunt May.
Jesus. But yeah, I'll give it 3 more episodes.
Um, Closing arguments. The
Mm.
2 points that I missed. One, this one statement leads into the one argument. So the Wookiee was hot as hell in that fucking
Oh,
what's it
bro,
called
I know he
outfit.
was. I know he was. He had to be.
Um, and then the costume design.
Yeah, the costume design I will praise. I will praise all day. That shit is dope. Like I won't praise her the what is it, Osh or May's outfit just because I do think they go a little bit too hard in the paint with the main character clothes. Like we know she's the main character, like Jesus. But other than that, like no, the costume designs and the set pieces too, they're good. They're good. They do the job of
Show that's why I mentioned that I not knowing anything about Star Wars and knowing that the story, the writing so far is loose, but enjoying what I'm seeing. I'm enjoying the show, not knowing anything about the Force. The
and
threads is confusing me. Again, as a someone come outside looking in, but
I will
other than
be
that, I'm enjoying.
I'll be completely fair to you. That's why I wanted you to watch it because I figured you might enjoy it, not knowing anything about it. Um,
That's why I like the Green
but
Lantern movie, and some people want to spit in my face when I say that.
I'm not gonna tell you that, and especially I'm not gonna spin in anybody's face. First of all, if they like something, like I said, it's all about intent. My gripe with Star Wars is not with the actors for the most part because they're paid to do what they do, right? My gripe
Oh
was
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
people
It's a
behind the
story. I
with the
never.
people
Why would you
behind the
blame an
camera.
actor for the story? Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Well, you can because some of them are genuinely engaging in bad behavior. Look at Brie Larson.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So there is some room to for some hate for the actors, but in this respect, I don't hate the actors. I don't, and also too, they've been trying to engineer weird social media too. People aren't really hating on the Squid Games guy. Nobody's really hating on him like that. People hate the fucking writers.
And fun fact, I told you that I saw too that he learned English just for
Yeah.
this role because he wanted so bad. He loves Star
I
Wars and wanted to be a part of Star Wars.
I hate that we have these cameos like him and Carrie Ann Moss because all they are is uh tools to use for her fan fiction. Like it is the weirdest thing ever because they have these little bit parts and like these weird parts in a story that like they usually wouldn't be in. It's like you drug them here to fill a trope basically. And it's like, come on, man. We have to tell better stories than these. Like,
So we'll see. We'll see what 3 more episodes will give us to see if that story fleshes out. And I ain't gonna lie, man, if you get to like 4 or 5 and be like, I'm done because I ain't gonna lie, when sketch is done, it's done. One episode in the Last of Us is like, I'm good. Y'all can have this.
no, no, I'm
And,
gonna see it. I'm gonna see it through. I'm gonna see it
uh,
through.
so we we will let you know. We appreciate you taking a listen. We appreciate you checking out with us. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have an Acolyte 1 through 3, Acolyte 4 through whichever episode we, we stop on. Then starting next week, just so you guys know, we're gonna be talking a whole lot about Legion. At the end of one of our episodes, we're gonna mention Legion. That's gonna be one of our shows. Guest mention Blue Seed and a bunch of other shows we got and in the
And
in the working for we're gonna be knocking out. So
yeah, I'm super
uh
excited
pre-
about that.
appreciate you listening. I hope you guys love the fucking new intro music that we got. I meant to mention at the beginning when we first started talking, but I really wanted us to get in talking or whatever. But really hope you try to sketch with that up for us.
Hey,
And
no problem.
as always,
Don't forget to have fun.
all right, we'll catch you guys next time.